And welcome. Hi there, and welcome to today's live chat that we're having here together with Krizna Gomez from JustLabs. Great that you're here.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here. Thanks, Åsa.
Cool. We wanted to have a chat around the Innovators Forum, this year's Innovators Forum that we delivered yesterday and the day before here in Berlin, Germany, with what I thought was a really cool crowd of people from international civil society organizations and other sort of CSO, civil society platforms and networks from throughout the world.
Yeah.
And you've helped us set this up and co-create this with us, so thanks so much for that.
It was a pleasure for me and for the whole team at JustLabs to be involved in such an amazing activity.
And it's been our pleasure to have you. Can you perhaps just tell us in a couple of sentences what you at JustLabs are doing and how you've helped us shape this Innovators Forum this year?
Yeah, so JustLabs is this space for innovation and disruption for the social change field. So we provide that space for international civil society organizations and other human rights organizations to ask tough questions and think about innovating because they need to have high impact. So this collaboration with the International Civil Society Center for the Innovators Forum is a perfect avenue for us to find like-minded members of civil society who are hungry for new ways of working that will have a lot of impact, especially in this volatile times that we have in the age of populism, etc.
Yeah, so a space for innovation and disruption and asking tough questions, yeah? So what are those tough questions that you're asking?
Really self-reflective questions of how are our traditional tactics still effective? If they're not, what should they be? Should we keep using the human rights language that people don't really find accessible? How should we operate as civil society organizations to have legitimacy and a close connection with the communities that we advocate for or work with? Really internal looking questions that organizations normally need a special space and time to just think about and address in a very deliberate and creative way.
So those are the tough questions, and I know, from the many conversations that we have with civil society organizations that there are quite a few organizations asking themselves these questions, as you say, especially these days. But what are then the answers, in your view, and also based on the many conversations and labs and all that I know that you have with these colleagues?
So you're right, many organizations are already trying to do a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
It's not like nothing is being done, a lot is being done. Organizations and activists are asking those tough questions. And what we found out is that first there's an appetite for that, really coming up with things that are creative and really trying to reach out to the values of people and communities and even talking about emotions. And we in the civil society sphere are not used to talking about emotions, tackling emotions. We're about facts and human rights and the law. But what I saw in the Innovators Forum, which was super refreshing, and also from the different labs that we've run, is that people are open to that. And the answer, apart from you engage with people's emotions and where communities are at, the second one is that we can't do this alone. Like organizations can't find innovations on their own. We need a way to work together in a genuine, authentic, and speedy way, because answers have to be found on these urgent questions fast.
Fast indeed, and I mean collaboration and working together, that's a lot what the International Civil Society Center is about, and that's exactly the kind of conversation that we wanted at the forum over the last couple of days. So how do you think it was? I mean, you said already it was refreshing in some ways. What's the main outcome for you, or maybe the main highlight from the last few days?
There were two highlights for me. The first one is this genuine openness and the sincerity of those in the forum to really ask those hard questions to themselves and learn. It comes from that space of humility that, yes, we're doing a lot, here it is, we're sharing it, but also we want to learn more. And I saw people really wanting to learn more and really taking in what they were hearing. But the second one is that a main highlight for me was how the different organizations were, from my point of view and my experience in the field, were much more predisposed to working together because they know that the problem of populism and the negative narratives against the work that we do is a global wave, a global trend, and that we needed to work together. So you had the different tools, and we had some really cool speakers come in, right?
Yeah.
We had Citizens' Voice, those who work on technology, etc. But bringing all those tools together under an umbrella or a spirit of collaboration that was made possible by places like the International Civil Society Center, that was a highlight for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you know, towards the end of the meeting then, yesterday afternoon, we had a couple of creative working groups, like really thinking about, okay, what do we then do now? I think we had a lot of inspiration, as you said, good contributions and speakers, but then the question remains, okay, I'm going to take this back to my organization, but also like, what can we do together, and how can we go from here? And we had 3 groups really putting their heads together, trying to figure this out, and I felt there was quite some energy in the 3 groups. You were leading on one of them. What did you come up with?
So the group I was leading on was about the labs. Like,
what are the labs?
The labs, well, the labs that we do at JustLabs are workshops where you gather human rights actors, civil society actors in a room that have a particular challenge, a particular problem, and then you form teams of people not from the human rights field, but from disciplines such as political strategy, communications, brand design, the types of disciplines that populists and governments tap into to come up with their quite successful way of reaching out to communities. So forming civil society actors' own team of experts to find solutions to a problem. And at the Innovators Forum, people were saying we need more labs. We need more spaces where we can just freely ask the tough questions, experiment radically, and come up with solutions fast, and be very open about the ideas that may not really work, iterate on them, learn from the things that don't work, and use methodologies to be able to do that are normally not used in the civil society sphere. Now more and more commonly they're being used, design thinking, futures thinking, but there was such a hunger for that, and now that group wants to explore being able to do those labs, to be able to come up with some narratives that are broader or more all-encompassing than at the level of the organization, and see if we can somehow play with them from the point of view of our organization and see if they're able to reach communities and certain sectors of society, including the persuadable middle, that we haven't quite been able to reach out to.
So in a way, can you say, you think, Chris, that this is about making the case for civil society, making the case for voice of the people, for this fundamental part of our democracies, to learn as organizations and as individuals to more clearly make the case for why civil society is needed and what our job really is.
Exactly. It's making the case for the importance of human dignity,
right,
and the fact that that's what civil society has been existing for. To protect, to make precious human dignity in ways that we've been doing them. There's a need to improve those ways, but we haven't been able to communicate why we're doing them, how we're doing them, and why we should even exist, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Not just to make us cool people, but because having communities be part of our journey is the only way that this can work.
Yeah, and it's why we're here, right? It's why civil society is here to sort of listen really to the communities and the people that might not be heard by other actors. So I think it's really about getting better at listening and hearing what others are telling us.
And
so,
being led by those people.
Yeah, even that. Okay, so I think it was very refreshing too, and I'm hoping and I'm thinking that we will have quite some tangible outcomes, and this group that came together will continue to work with one another over and beyond this meeting, and you and I will too. So so JustLabs and the International Civil Society Center will continue this collaboration that we have started, and try to figure out how can we really play together here, you with your strengths and us with our network of organizations, to really support the civil society organizations to get better. So let's try to do that.
We will do that.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for being here. And thanks for listening. Please add your comments, like or not like, share this, and tell us what you think. Would be good to hear. Thank you.